I'm Benjamin. I grew up in Germany in the area of Stuttgart, and I came to the Lord through my parents. I had the honor to have really God-loving, God-seeking parents. My dad pastored a church, and when I grew up, they were in a season of seeking more from the Lord. So when I was just 6 years old, they would regularly turn on the TV and watch American TV with evangelists and pastors preaching. So for me, I got used to seeing miracles and people getting filled with the Holy Spirit when I was just 6 or 7 years. I remember when I was 9 years old, I laid in bed and I started talking to the Lord. I told him, God, if this is real, I want to give you my whole life. I want to be sold out to you. Wherever you send me, I want to go, and I want to live in the same close fellowship that I see with my parents, that I see with these people who preach your word. My problem was that in my youth years, I didn't know how to maintain and sustain my relationship with God. I didn't go deep into prayer and loving the Lord, but I knew the potential that God put in my life. I knew the power of His presence. I just didn't know how to access it for myself. And so I got really frustrated. I was in a season I thought I'm depressive. I was struggling with sin. And I thought if I could just overcome sin and depression, then I would live a perfect Christian life. It took me until around 18 years when I came back to the Lord to say, I want to live with my whole life just for you. And I went to a discipleship training school in Germany. For the first month, I just went through the program, I was in the classes. But finally, I got fed up with the religious practices. I said, God, I want more of you. I want what I experienced and saw as a child. I want to live in your presence. I want to see the miracles. And so, in a radical decision, I started to lock myself up in a little prayer room, just 2 meters times 2 meters. And for hours and hours, I just started seeking God. I said, Jesus, your word says, whoever seeks you will find you. And so after a few days, I started to feel the presence of the Holy Spirit filling me. My heart suddenly understood the things that God would speak to me, and He gave me vision for the future. He gave me understanding how to live in fellowship with Him, and that was my breakthrough, how I really started to live my whole life for God. So I lived for 1 year in this Bible school in Germany, and after I encountered the Lord, I just wanted to go out in ministry, to lay hands on people, to pray for people. But God spoke to me to go in another Bible school for 2 more years to be equipped and to learn, and this time was really important for me. My question changed from just knowing how to live free of sin to how to live every day in the tangible presence of God. And so now I started to perceive topics different. I remember God talked to me about humility. He revealed scriptures to me where it said that God dwells with the humble and the low in heart. So I realized if I want to be closer to God, I need to live in humility. And so God continued to teach me how His heart feels and how only through surrender to Him I could live every day in fellowship with Him. On top of it, I had the honor to meet some amazing people who taught me how to walk more in the power of God, to see miracles. And finally, last year, I finished studying, and we were supposed to have 1 year of internship in the place of our choice. So God opened the door for Romania only when other plans that I made for myself started to fail. I planned to go to the States, but these plans crumbled, and I started to listen to the Lord. And through a dream, God spoke to me to come to Romania. I saw myself going to the streets and praying for people in the nation of Romania. And I didn't know the language, I didn't have friends or family here. But I said, God, I obey to you. I told you when I was a child that I will go with all my life. And so I just came with a friend to the nation of Romania. And I didn't know where I would work, I didn't know where I would live, but I knew the calling of God would be in Romania for the next season. I knew a friend in my Bible school who speaks Romanian, and in his dream I was walking in the streets, and my friend would draw people and say, Ben, there is someone and he needs prayer. So I would pray for the person, and my friend would translate the prayer into Romanian, and I knew, okay, this is the place that God has for me. I think the biggest challenge was to make new friends, to find a new family, and to get used with people speaking a different language that I don't know. So the first months, I think I really learned to live the life of the cross, to do the will of God. The Bible gives us an amazing picture that only when there is wood on the altar, the fire of God would fall. And God started to reveal to me how the cross is this wood on the altar. So I didn't understand everything that was said, and there are new customs. I didn't understand the jokes, and the way people live Christianity is often a little bit more traditional than what I was used to from my childhood. But I realized that I cannot come with an attitude of pride to try to bring my culture into the culture, but I started to learn from the things that God put in the nation of Romania. Baia-Mare became like my new home. I came because this friend of mine had a brother here and had other cousins, so that was a simple choice to come to this city. But we didn't plan to go to the specific church we are in now. We went to a different church, but both of us felt the move of the Holy Spirit leading us to another church, to Filadelfia, Baia-Mare, and immediately from the first day it felt like home. The pastors took us in like family. We could from the first day start to minister in prayer, in counseling, and in a church building project. And that's how Baia-Mare really became home for me.